Odubel Herrera was all smiles today, not only because he was signing some autographs, but he is back in the lineup for the Phils. The Phils hit the road here to Chicago. A lot of fans have made their way out to the Windy City. So what do? You get here early, you get Adam Morgan's autograph, you get Odubel Herrera's autograph, and then you get set for Game 2 between the Phils and the Chicago White Sox. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy along with Ben Davis. The Phils offense has scored only one run in the last 20 innings, but you know that by now. And tonight they take on a pitcher who they haven't had a whole lot of success against, but he is really struggling here in 2016 in James Shields.
He's been reeling, and the White Sox went out and acquired James Shields thinking, hey, we're going to be in a pennant race here. We need big game James to be on our team. Well, it hasn't worked out that way for the White Sox. Really falling in love with his cutter. The changeup is still good, but the velocity's down, and I think the Phillies will have a good chance to get to him this evening. Now, you look at this game against the Phillies last year, which he had it going. He was hitting his spots up, down, in, and out. He had it going that day.
Well, and you talk about the changeup. His changeup was very effective in this ball game. Now, you see the cutter there. He didn't throw it as much last year against the Phils.
No, he didn't, but really he's using that as a secondary pitch now, and I don't know why, because his curveball is above average and his changeup is devastating.
All right, so the numbers for James Shields before the trade and after the trade. The first couple of months he was with the San Diego Padres. Their owner called him an embarrassment before the trade. The White Sox were 29-29 when they acquired him, thinking, as you mentioned, that they would be in the race. All right, so we talk about the White Sox starter tonight. How about the Phillies starting pitching? They are young, they are learning, but they have really struggled over the last week or so.
Yeah, they have scuffled, and the injuries are one concern, but their numbers are another. They're not able to get into the sixth inning. The home runs are up, the walks are up, and they're just not really commanding their pitches right now. With the exception of Jeremy Hellickson, the other four stars right now have had their struggles.
Talking to Pete Macadam, he talked about focus, particularly for a guy like Jerad Eickhoff, whose numbers are good the first couple of times through the order, but the third time through, and we'll talk about that during tonight's telecast, the third time through, the numbers escalate. So he's on the mound tonight for the Phils as they look to split this two-game series against the White Sox. It will be James Shields making his 15th start in the American League, and Jerad Eickhoff his 26th start overall. When we come back, we'll actually head to the CSN studios. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. By Toyota, the annual clearance sale is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Citizens Bank. The next time you have a question about money, don't keep it to yourself. Ask a citizen. By Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of the Phils. And by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com. Just a few moments ago out at home plate. Little different lineup tonight compared to last night when the Phils lost 9-1 to the Chicago White Sox. Let's take a look at that starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity. The Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Cesar is back in, leading it off, playing second base. Odubel's back in. He's batting second. So that means that Borges moves to the 9-hole tonight. Ryan Howard is in, batting cleanup. This is the last ballpark that is currently in Major League Baseball that Ryan Howard has not had a Major League at-bat in. He has played here before, but he has not had a Major League at-bat here. We'll get into that a little later on. They will face right-hander James Shields, who is warming up out on the mound as we speak, getting ready for tonight's start. Shields, the veteran, former 16th round pick of the Tampa Bay Rays, 3-8 this year with an ERA of 7.62. 69 2/3 innings. He's allowed 34 strikeouts. He's picked up 34 strikeouts. That's low for James Shields. Those are his numbers with the White Sox. And if you combine his numbers with the Padres, they're not really much better.
No, they aren't. But we take a look at this scouting report for big game James. He'll sit about 90 miles an hour. His changeup is his best pitch, but he's fallen in love with his cutter. You might see him throw a few more changeups this evening. But career, good record-wise, but ERA still up there for James Shields.
Time now for our Nissan keys to tonight's ball game.
I think this lineup needs to expect to hit. They've had some good at-bats, but just don't see that. I don't like to use the term swagger, but I haven't seen that. And Eickhoff, command the curveball. If he can command the curveball, he will have success against this fastball hitting lineup. And a little hop in your step. Last two games, they've been dead. So I'd like to see them a bit rejuvenated.
I think it's interesting. We talk about Eickhoff's curveball. We were calling for the slider so much early on this season, but I think you're right. I think he does need to throw the curveball more. First pitch of the night to Cesar Hernandez is in there on the outside corner, so we're underway, and the count is no balls and one strike. Cesar did not play last night. He's been battling his sore foot. A foul ball off that foot. Off speed pitch, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Overall, Cesar hitting .295 with 4 home runs and 30 runs batted in. This is his 26th game as the everyday leadoff hitter for the Phils. He's hitting .340 since Pete Mackanin put him in the leadoff spot. More importantly than anything else, his on-base percentage is .448. I think James Shields is fighting John Tumpane already.
Yonder Navarro, he just held the ball like that. That ball's off the plate. Can't expect to get that pitch.
Swinging a ground ball off the glove of Shields. It'll be picked up by Saladino, and he just does throw out Cesar Hernandez. 1-4-3 on the putout. The luck at McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Scott Stetzler. Phillies hit a home run at today's ball game, and Scott will win $100. McDonald's mix and match any two for just $2.50 menu on the McDonald's Big Pick 2 menu.
Good luck, Scott.
Here we go. Got to get ready if you're a pitcher. Get in position to field your position, or to protect yourself. Either one.
I wanted no part of that one.
Odubel Herrera takes low. Odubel did not play in last night's ball game. He has 4 hits against James Shields. Odubel hitting .281 in the month of August, which is better than what he had been hitting. Fly ball, shallow left field. Melky Cabrera comes sprinting in, gets to the spot, 2 outs. We're going to give you a whole bunch of bad numbers for James Shields tonight because it's been a really bad year for him. 2-7 with the Padres in 11 games. He only allowed 9 home runs with the Padres and 67 in the third. White Sox picked him up when they were 29-29 for Fernando Tatis back on the 6th of June. Since the trade, he is 3-8 with a 7.62 earned run average. But he's allowed 20 home runs while pitching for the White Sox, and 29 overall. You know what's crazy? That doesn't lead the league at this point. There are two other guys that have given up more home runs than him. Jared Weaver's given up 30, and Josh Tomlinson has given up 32.
Wow.
Popped him up foul behind home plate, 2-1.
I think we're going to get a ball tonight, Tom.
I do feel like
have
if
a
we
feeling.
were here for a longer period of time, we might get one up here.
I think tonight's the night.
Good thing Mike's not here, because he would have bailed. Another foul ball. It's 2-2 as Franco loses his helmet. Franco was 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. He's hit it 6 straight. Just got a piece of that breaking ball. John Tumpane is the home plate umpire tonight. Brian O'Nora is at first, Lance Barrett's at second, and Jeff Kellogg, the crew chief, is around at third. Kellogg had a good night last night behind the plate.
When you don't talk about them, you know they had a good night.
There were a lot of deep counts last night, too.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot of chirping. For the first base dugout, it remains 2-2.
Good swing there. Powerful swing.
He has fouled off 4 straight pitches. And he fouls off 5 straight pitches now. And it remains 2-2.
Slider there. That was a good one to hit. Just a hair out in front. See this pitch come in.
That's 6 straight foul balls for Franco. He's getting everything.
Yeah, and this is the difference right here in James Shields. Now, hopefully Maikel wins the battle, but this is a part where James Shields, before in years past, where he would just finish you off. He had that ability with the changeup or with the big hook.
Always liked his changeup. In fact, folks talked about it quite often. There was the change.
Yes.
And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Don Cooper and Robin Ventura talked about Shields' stuff after his last start. Tapper back over the middle, and Saladino is shaded that way. So Shields throws a few more pitches than he wanted to Franco, but he works a 1-2-3 inning. Phillies go down in order. Jared Eickhoff is ready to go. We come back in the bottom of the first. The Chicago White Sox. Let's take a look at Robin Ventura's lineup for tonight. It's brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. Adam Eaton leads it off at center field, then Tim Anderson and Melky Cabrera. Jose Abreu, the first baseman, bats cleanup. Justin Morneau, the DH, hits fifth. Todd Frazier, sixth. And there you see the bottom third. Garcia moves up, and then Navarro and Saladino are added to the lineup. A lineup that last night picked up 9 runs against the Phils. And there's Eichhoff. Eichhoff 8-12 on the year. Earned run average of 3.91. His last outing, he received a no decision, but the Phillies won the ball game. He allowed 4 earned runs in 6 innings of work. He said no problem with the innings. He said his arm feels good, his body feels good. And the first batter he'll face is Adam Eaton, who has hit in 6 straight and had 2 hits last night. Takes the first pitch at mid outside, 1-0. Eaton averages just under 4 pitches per plate appearance. He butted for a hit last night. He takes strike 1.
Good looking player. He really is.
White Sox acquired him in a 3-team trade from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Altair settles in. One away, and that'll bring Tim Anderson to the plate. Murph, the Phillies coaching staff, very impressed with the speed of Tim Anderson.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that has a little bit of everything. We're getting our first look at this youngster. He's 23 years old. He debuted back in June for the Chicago White Sox, a former #1 pick back in 2013. And we can see, you know, just even in last night's game, why Major League Baseball is so high on this guy, why the Chicago White Sox are so high on this guy. Robin Ventura said about him, he does a little bit of everything. Early on, when he first came up, he was trying to be a little pull happy. He was getting a little anxious and swinging at everything. He has kind of calmed that down. You see in the last 15 games, batting .339, 5 doubles, triples. He hits for power as well. He's got 2 home runs in that span. He's the kind of guy that can do a little bit of everything, defensively and offensively. He's one of the highest, ranked prospects in baseball, and he's a guy that they expect to be in the middle of their infield for a long time, guys.
Well, the one thing that stood out was his range at shortstop last night on a couple of different plays. In particular, going up the middle. Now, glove side is usually where you see the dominance of a good defensive shortstop, but he's got that first step that was incredible last night.
Yes, very impressed. Actually, I was telling Mickey Morandini about the story that you told on air last night about how he was just a fielder. They actually used the DH for him his junior year. And he said, no way. I said, yeah. I said, he didn't hit in high school.
Oh, he's taken major strides offensively and defensively. I mean, think about 78 errors in the minor leagues in 3 years. Melky Cabrera, who walked a couple times last night, takes low.
Gotta have that one.
In fact, he walked 3 times last night. He was 1 for 1 with that RBI in 3 walks. Fly ball down the left field line. Aaron Altair makes his second grab of the inning. That's a 9-pitch first inning for Jerad Eichhoff. So each team goes down 1, 2, 3. We'll head to the second here in Chicago. Phillies. Howard checking another stadium off his list. In fact, it's the last stadium he can check off his list as a major leaguer, but he has played here in Chicago as part of the Futures game in 2003. Look at some of the notable players that were part of that Futures game, including Zach Greinke. Gavin Floyd pitched for the Phillies, obviously, at the time. Joe Mauer, Robinson Cano. Howard hits one skyward. It's a mile up into the air down the right field line. And Garcia's under it, makes the catch. I asked Ryan about the Futures game, and he said that it was something that he was nervous about because it was all new to him, being part of the top prospect list in all of Major League Baseball. He said he remembered that he had one at bat, which he did, and he had to face Denny Bautista, who was a left-hander who was with the Marlins organization at the time, and he struck out against him. He said, but he was a wicked lefty. He said, but I want to remind everybody that a year later in Bowie, when we played the Bay Sox, he said, I got him. And obviously he faced him in the big leagues too. But Ryan reflected on that before yesterday's ball game and what a great time that was, and some of the great players that were part of the teams that played in that Futures game. I mean, that was only part of the list.
Yeah.
Grady Sizemore was on that team, and he was the MVP. He received the Larry Doby Award for the United States team. Cameron Rupp takes outside. And it took a moment for Ryan to come up with a pitcher, Denny Bautista. And he said, let's ask Chooch. He remembers all that stuff. Side 2-1 to Rupp.
Steel trap.
And he turned to Chooch. He said, what was that Bautista guy's name that I faced in the Futures game? Carlos is the one who came up with it. Out of play. Forgot back then that he and Gavin Floyd were both teammates for the Clearwater team in that season when he got a chance to be part of the Futures team roster. 2-2 to Cameron Rupp. He was 1 for 4 last night with a double. Broken back ground ball.
Beautiful night here in the Windy City.
Yeah, they expected rain all day. It did rain in the morning, but it looks like it's cleared out for the time being. 85 degrees at game time. The 3-ball count for James Shields. 3-2 to Cameron Rupp, who's hit in 6 straight games. His average at 276 with 14 homers and 43 runs batted in. Out in front of an off-speed pitch, a breaking ball, I should say. First strikeout for Shields. Tommy Joseph's coming up. And the Washington Nationals will be in Philadelphia beginning this Monday for a 3-game series. All 3 games are at 7:05. Starts on the 29th and wraps up on the 31st. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com.
Who's the National League MVP? Murphy? Daniel Murphy?
Boy, that's a good question. I think Chris Bryant's swinging his way into being in the conversation. You know, some people talk about Corey Seager possibly, if the Dodgers win the division, possibly getting both the Rookie of the Year and the MVP. Bryant's been remarkable. Murphy's been very good.
I just think that without
Murphy,
Daniel Murphy in that lineup, because there's a lot of players that were scuffling offensively, that team would not be where they are.
Well, do you think that Rizzo and Bryant will split the vote a little bit?
Possibly.
Inside 2-1 to Tommy Joseph.
I'd like to see Tommy have a big night. I really would. You've seen a lack of his playing time really get diminished.
2-2.
You know, it definitely does not help with your timing. I mean, he was seeing, you know, he was getting 4 bats every day. That obviously helps out with your timing. And then you go to playing a couple times a week. Not as easy to get back in there.
Here's the 2-2 pitch coming to Joseph.
Front door cutter. I don't know how you don't come right back with that same pitch.
That one's ripped down the left field line. It is a fair ball as it goes toward the corner. Tommy Joseph is a step closer to having that big night, Ben. It's a 2-out double, first hit of the evening for the Phils.
It just seems like nobody doubles up anymore. He froze Tommy on the pitch before that and then goes back outside with another cutter. If I'm a hitter, that ball landing right on the line. But if I'm a hitter, just knowing that these pitchers don't like to double up, I'd be diving too.
Why do you think they don't double up?
I don't know.
Do you think because they throw it once and they think, all right, the hitter's going to look there?
He's looking for it. I just, and I think right now, a lot of teams, a lot of catchers and pitchers get so involved with the scouting report. You have to read a hitter. If I see that take right there by Tommy Joseph, I'm going back in there. I'm glad he didn't. Glad it worked out for Tommy, obviously.
11th double of the year for Joseph.
They get so caught up with, well, the scouting report says this. Sometimes you have to throw that out the window. That's my 2 cents.
I think it's good, though. And Deanna Navarro knows James Shields. He caught him when he was at the Tampa Bay Rays, so he understands what's good and what's not. That cutter floats outside. 2-1. In fact, Navarro was quoted after his last start when Shields got beat up by the A's, 7 earned runs and 4 2/3 and 3 home runs. He said, "I'm not really sure what's going on right now." On the Major League scoreboard, Manny Machado's 2-run home run has given the Orioles a 5-1 lead over the Nationals. Washington has lost 3 straight. Baltimore 2 out in the East. There's a line drive to right field. Garcia coming on. He plays it on one hop. Rounding third, heading for home is Joseph. He'll score. It's an RBI single, and the Phillies take the lead.
2-out lightning for the Fighting Phils. Well done, Aaron. Well done. Late jump there by Garcia. Ends up trapping this ball. Been nice if that got by him, but it's a nice play. And what helps Tommy out, because the ball was hit so hard, I don't think that Sammy would have sent him if he didn't have to go to a knee. Because the ball was hit so hard, and Tommy, not the fleetest of foot.
Yeah, he was going because there were 2 outs, but you're right. It was a rocket out to right field. Freddie Galvis now the batter. Galvis 1 for 4 last night with a long home run. That home run gave him 13 on the year. There's a great note in the Phillies note package today that he's the first shortstop not named Jimmy Rollins to have 13 or more home runs since Dickie Thon. First Phillies shortstop not named Jimmy Rollins. Rollins had 8 years of 13 home runs or more and 11 years of double-digit home runs. So Freddie's got a while until he catches Jimmy in those categories. But he's now a career-high 51 runs batted in.
I think Aaron has to take off at some point here. Has to.
Well, Shields is a little slower to the plate than most, and Deanna Navarro is a little slower to second than most catchers. Throwing out 20% of the runners trying to steal. Had him in between steps, but he's back easily.
I had to look it up just to make sure I was right. Dickie Thon did wear number 21 for the Phillies. Thought I was right.
Ball and 1 strike to Galvis. Well, here's the home run last night. This was as pretty a left-handed swing as you're going to see.
It is gorgeous. Just, it's in the zone. It's on that plane, but it's so quick through there.
Steelers are 13 for 16 against Shields. That's a lot of stolen bases.
Yeah, and having Navarro back there doesn't help either.
And a liner toward right center field. Eaton's on the run. He won't get there, and it goes by him to the wall. Altaire's going to coast around third, and he'll score. RBI double for Freddie Galvis. The Phillies on top 2-0.
Loud noises. And a terrible route by Eaton in center field. And we had a perfect view of it. This ball is smoked to center field. That's 3 bullets in a row, Tom, and it's a good sign for the Phillies. See Eaton going after this. He thinks he can get there. Ball's hit too hard. That's a bad route. I mean, he can run, but not that fast.
Yeah, he's kind of established himself as a better right fielder than center fielder. Peter Bourjos takes outside. Bourjos is 5 for 10 lifetime against James Shields. He has quietly put together a 6-game hitting streak.
One of my keys, a little hop in your step. I know it's easier when you're swinging the bats well. Sunday's game against the Cardinals, it's just not a good game. Last night's game, not a good game.
I asked Pete today, I said, do you even think about having a little word with your team after last night's ball game? He said, not yet. He said, I want to see how they come out tonight. But 1 run in the previous 21 innings, 2 runs here in the second. We kind of talked about that he might close the door. 2-2 to Bourjos.
Again, Shields just not using that changeup. Maybe it really is a field pitch, but he's been so dominant with it for so many years. It's hard to believe that he would lose the field for that.
Swing and a miss. Bourjos strikes out. Phillies settled for 2 runs in the inning. They got 2 doubles and a single. Freddie Galvis' double brought home Aaron Altaire, so Jerad Eickhoff has a lead. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band will be bringing the River Tour to Citizens Bank Park on Wednesday, September 7th and Friday, September 9th. New inventory of great seats have just been released for both shows. Tickets are available starting at $68 and can be purchased by visiting Phillies.com/Springsteen. Bruce, last night up at the Meadowlands, 3 hours and 52 minutes as he made his return to the United States. So he is ready to go. 3 hours and 52 minutes. It was the longest show he has ever put on. And he puts on some long shows in the United States, that is.
3:52.
Jose Abreu leads it off. Abreu takes low, 2-0. Abreu 2 for 3 in last night's ball game, including a home run. Inside, 3-0. Well, this would constitute a potential shutdown inning for Jerad Eickhoff.
I like what he did in the first inning. Just 9 pitches. Hasn't had to go to that curveball yet.
Balls and 2 strikes.
I love that. 3-1 count to Abreu. Obviously, you know about his thunder. Throws an 83-mile-an-hour slider. That's great.
Yeah, but would you back it up now and freeze him with a curveball, or would you try to throw something else? I mean, it's 3-2.
No, I wouldn't mind seeing another slider. Try and dot a fastball down and away. Looks like you're going to get that slider.
Out to center field. Odubel Herrera goes back. He's got room. Ball is not traveling the way it did last night, at least up to this point. Which was kind of interesting because you were talking to Aaron Altair. We thought it was as breezy as could be last night. The flags were moving. But Aaron told you
it wasn't. I said pretty breezy out there last night, huh? And he goes, what do you mean? I said, windy. He goes, no, not at all. I said, it wasn't windy down the field. He goes, no.
It did feel that way.
Oh, okay. Just from some of the flights of the balls and how breezy it was up here in the booth.
The wind gauge is not moving now. Off the end of the bat to left center field. Altair says he has it. Odubel comes over. Odubel actually covered a lot of ground out there.
He did. He has no problem calling off the left and right fielder.
Oh, Walter Matthau did tell him to catch anything he could. That's what he told Kelly Leak in the Bad News Bears. Outside, 1-0. The original Bad News Bears, not the remake. Frazier, 31 home runs, 76 runs batted in. There's the first curveball of the night, right? 2-0.
Well, it looked like Cameron wanted it, but I think he kind of rode that one out of the zone. You know, you have to present that ball out in front a bit more. It seemed like he caught it and rode it down to the ground.
Over to third. Maikel Franco has time. And a 1-2-3 inning again for Jerad Eickhoff. So 6 up, 6 down for the Phillies right-hander. Does a nice job once again to take us to the third. Cesar will lead it off. go to the fan section for all the information. Please submit your answer on the subject line.
Harold Baines.
Who holds the White Sox record for most 30 home run, 30 double seasons? That's not a bad guess, but I don't think he had that many 30 home run seasons. Answer will be revealed in just a little bit.
I saw Bainesy today.
Who you did?
Yeah.
His statue, or you saw
I
him?
saw him.
Cesar will lead it off. He grounded out his first time up. Corners pinch in. Phillies lead the National League in bunt hits, and it's because of Cesar. They have 20.
Perfect location there.
Down the left field line, Cabrera on the run. I think this is over his head. It is. It's gone. It carries out of the ballpark. An opposite field home run for Cesar Hernandez. And the Phillies take a 3-0 lead.
Wow.
I have to admit, I'm surprised that ball carried out the way it did. Well, Scott Stetzler, you have just won $100 thanks to Cesar Hernandez in the McDonald's home run jackpot.
Way to go, Scott. Look at Larry. Boy, this ball just had some carry. I was just watching Melky, and I'm saying, why is he giving up on this ball? It just carried on out of here.
I just thought he was going to play it off the wall, to be honest with you. Well, Cesar with his 5th home run of the season. 31st RBI. Well, I mentioned James Shields has a propensity to give up the long ball. It is the 30th home run he's allowed this year, the 21st with the White Sox. Cesar did swing at that, didn't he? I mean, he went all the way, or Double, right? He went all the way around.
Oh, he went.
Oh, it hit the bat.
I don't know what. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Swing and a miss and a breaking ball. What away. All right, so James Shields coming into tonight had given up 20 home runs in his first 14 games as a member of the White Sox. The last pitchers to allow 20 home runs in their first 14 starts with the team: Ezekiel Estacio in 05 with the Astros and Eric Milton in 05 with the Reds. Outside, 1-0. Again, it's surprising that somebody has given up more overall. Ball rocketing into left field by Maikel Franco.
You know what that hit was? It was a byproduct of his first at bat.
Because he saw so many pitches.
He saw so many pitches. He had some really good swings at them. Unfortunately, ended up grounding out to Saladino at second base. But he saw everything from James Shields. Knows the arm slot.
The Phillies are timing James Shields here. That's 5 hits in the last 7, or the last 7 hitters. And here's Ryan Howard, who swung at the first pitch his first time up.
Had some serious hang time on that fly ball.
It impressed him too. You could see it on his face when he was walking back. I think he thought it was going to go into the seats in foul territory. in the dirt. Navarro picks it up. Franco heading to second on one hop, and he is safe. The one hop brought Anderson's glove up. And the throw on one hop did beat him, but the hop brought Anderson's glove up above the leg of Maikel Franco.
I like the aggressiveness. I'd like to see maybe a little more efficient route to second base. Maybe a direct line.
Did you like the way he locked his foot on the bag, though?
Yes.
Off the end of the bat, flicked out towards center. Adam Eaton. Two outs, a runner at second. Cameron Rupp is coming up. Some of the numbers that Rupp is putting up this year really are impressive. If you compare it only to last season, he needs one more game to match his games played in the big leagues last year. But he already has 5 more home runs, and he has 10 more doubles. And his OPS is 144 points higher than a season ago. And that is solid offensive improvement.
Yeah.
From one year to the next.
What I've liked is he's gotten that batting average up there, and it's staying there. Now, he was really sitting at about 240 to 250 for a while, and then he got hot and he sustained it.
Yeah, and you just saw those comparisons 1 year ago today, you know, and he actually finished strong with his home run total, so that improved it to the 9 he finished up with. 3 balls, no strikes to Rupp. Franco leads off second. Fly ball, short right. Phillies get a run on the home run by Cesar Hernandez. They leave one in scoring position. Cesar going the opposite way. Ball carried out of the ballpark into the White Sox bullpen. So we played 2.5 on to the bottom of the third. It's the Phillies 3 and the White Sox nothing. Nissan.com. Buy McDonald's. Mix and match any 2 for just $2.50 on McDonald's McPick 2 menu. And buy your local Ford stores. Last of the third, Phillies are on top 3-0. It's been a nice start for the Phillies offense and for Jerad Eickhoff, who will face the bottom third. Garcia, Navarro, and Saladino.
Jerad thus far 6 up, 6 down, but hard to believe 0 first pitch strikes.
Yeah, considering he threw just was it 9 pitches in the first inning? Outside and low, 1 ball and no strikes to Garcia, who last night was 1 for 4 with a double. Jared spent the off day here in Chicago with his family. They came in from Indiana. He has a couple of family members that are here tonight. It was more about the off day, though, and getting a chance to catch up with them.
We should have taken his family back as we went through Indiana to get to the field yesterday. What a cab ride that was.
We certainly took a better route today. Garcia helps him out on that swing. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tried the curveball. That was an interesting trajectory of that curveball, though. Usually his goes more 12-6.
Yeah, more north-south.
That one went kind of east-west. Over towards shortstop. Freddie Galvis backs up on it and sweeps the throw over in time. On the heels of Chase Utley's unforgettable return to Citizens Bank Park, Ryan Howard talks about the possibility that he may one day come back in a different uniform. Watch an all-new Phillies clubhouse Friday at 4 right here on CSN. I think Ryan was as overwhelmed as anybody with the reception that Chase received, that rightful reception that he received when he came back to Philadelphia. Chase has been bothered by a sore foot, but he said he was going to play tonight against the Giants. The 1 pitch to Navarro. That's poked foul, 0-2. How on earth did he hit that foul ball behind home plate to the upper deck?
It's not the proper route to the baseball.
It really wasn't. On the Toyota Major League Scoreboard, Miami, well, they may have finally solved the Kansas City Royals. Nobody else has recently. They lead at 3-0. Christian Yelich, a 2-run single. Fly ball right field. Peter Borges ventures over to his left. Saladino is now next up against Eichhoff.
That's an aggressive push broom he's got working on his upper lip.
Yeah. That is the Tom Selleck mustache right there. Unless it's fake. 1 ball and 1 strike. Looks like the mustache that Bobby Valentine wore that night when he came back from the clubhouse up at Shea Stadium when he had been thrown out.
It does.
2-1.
Very aggressive. Feels good to do it, right, Tom?
The liner to right field, Peter Borges wraps it up. Another 1-2-3 inning for Eichhoff, who's off to a very nice start. He's front running a 3-0 lead, 9 up, 9 down. They're part of a national system of Blue Cross and Blue Shield plans that cover more than 100 million members across the country. Live fearless. Learn more at IBX.com/biz. Top half of the fourth inning, Phillies up 3-0. The guy that started the first rally for the Phillies is Tommy Joseph, and he leads it off against James Shields. Tommy doubled his first time up against Shields. Side, it's 2-1. All right, so now would you go back in again there?
I would. I'd like to see it, be at the belt if I were calling it. But again, right back away, and I think Tommy went out there with him. Foul ball, but it was a good swing.
Came back a little bit over the plate. 2-2. Curveball and a strike 3 call. Well, he kind of fooled him on that pitch. So 1 away. Fourth strikeout for Shields. Well, interleague, the Phillies are 150 and 192 all time. The White Sox, meanwhile, 40 games over 500. Phillies lead the head-to-head series 7-6. Phillies are 8-9 in interleague games this year, trying to get back to the 500 mark. And overall, the American League, well, they're pulling away from the National League in interleague victories. Pulling away on a number of categories, not homers though. Two leagues are tied with the same amount of home runs. Altair, an RBI single his first time up.
He really does grunt on every pitch, doesn't he?
I didn't hear it the first couple of innings, but I think the first time I heard it was this inning against Tommy Joseph, and now I can't get it out of my head.
Can't tune it out, can you?
Cannot tune it out. The third base line, Frazier barehands, throws on the run, dug out by Abreu. That's an excellent play by Todd Frazier.
It sure was.
And a nice pick by Abreu over at first.
All the way around, good play.
Yeah, I didn't think he had a chance to get him once it slowed up on the grass. His playing surface is pretty thick on the infield.
Aaron gets out of the box okay. This bare hand, the only option there for Frazier.
Galvis doubled his first time up, drove in a run.
Goes fastball in, change up away, fastball in. Both fastballs in have been balls. If he goes back away again.
Came back with a breaking ball that was a bit high, 3-1.
they're the kind of patterns and routines that you can just look for simply by watching the game. You're sitting on the bench, say you're not playing that particular day, you might be in there against James Shields the next time you face him.
Got him out front. It's out to shallow right center field. Garcia makes the call. For the second time tonight, the Phillies go down 1-2-3. We've completed 3.5. We'll head to the bottom of the fourth. Top of the order due up for the White Sox when we return. Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com to find your RAV4 today. Toyota, let's go places. Let's go Phils. Home half of the fourth inning. Adam Eaton, Tim Anderson, Melky Cabrera to lead it off against Jared Eichhoff. Time now for our Geico quote of the day from Adam Eaton. Most people see a mountain and don't want to climb it. We're athletes. We do. You don't go out there just to play. You play to win. Because if you do pack it in, well, a lot of people watch us every night and live and die by these games. And we should live and die by the win-loss record, too. That's on the approach with the White Sox. Think about it. They jumped out to a 17-8 record in April. They were up 3 games in the division. Their lead jumped to 6 on May 9th. They were 23-10 with a 2.79 ERA. They were allowing 1 home run every 12.4 at-bats. Or excuse me, every 12.4 innings. Well, since then, they are 37-54. And their team ERA is 4.56. There's the first hit of the night as Eaton is aboard to start the fourth inning.
First hit, first base runner.
Tim Anderson's coming up. But truly, back in May, they were talking about a matchup between the White Sox and the Cubs in the World Series. Obviously, it was very early. But man, oh man, did things change. Look at the difference. And it was really the ERA. The earned run average went from 2.79 through the 9th of May. That's collective. To where it is now over 4. 4.56. I mean, Ben, you forget they spent 42 days in first place.
Yeah.
Eichhoff throws over again. Over to shortstop. This will be tough to double up. Anderson runs well, but man, did they get rid of it quickly. 6-4-3. The speed of Freddie Galvis's hands and Cesar Hernandez's hands, that's what did it. 2 outs.
Pitcher's best friend. Good all the way around. We just saw a great play by Frazier. He did everything right. Well, these two in the middle of the diamond, they did everything right as well. In and out of their glove. Flip to Cesar. In and out of his glove. Good strong throw to first base.
I think both recognized who was running on the back end. And the fact that even though it was hit hard, they had to get rid of it quickly. Melky Cabrera fly to left, his only time up. Fly ball left field. Well, a number of fly ball outs tonight for Jerad Eickhoff, but he'll take it. Phillies fans are happy the way this thing is rolling through 4. They got their first hit, but he still has faced the minimum. Chair. Your office's answer to versatility and customized comfort. Delivered to you for free on one of W.B. Mason's world famous trucks. Hahn and W.B. Mason, a pair of heavy hitters that truly deliver. We begin the top of the 5th inning. Phillies lead at 3-0. Peter Bourjos will start it off. Bourjos struck out his first time up. Shields delivers outside. It's 1-0.
Get Peter on here. Some wheels. Cesar swinging a hot bat. Keep batting on.
One of the first times the Phillies saw James Shields was in spring training with Tampa, but they also saw him in the 2008 World Series. He pitched game 2 against Brett Myers. He lasted just 5 2/3, but he pitched shutout baseball for those 5 2/3. He allowed 7 hits and walked 2. He wound up getting the win. It was so important that the Phillies jumped out to the 1-0 lead in game 1. But Shields was able to help the the Rays to a victory in Game 2. I remember everybody kept telling us how loud it was going to be down at the Trop. We had never been there to play obviously a postseason game. That ball's hit well out to right center field. Eaton's going back. It's carrying out to the wall. He reaches up and he makes the catch right at the fence. Well, an excellent defensive play. He tracked it perfectly.
He misjudged the ball on Freddie Galvis earlier, but this is a good route. Gets to it, finds a fence. Nice play. Oh, a lot of carry to it.
Thought there was a chance it was going to carry on out.
Yeah.
There's usually where the jet stream is in this ballpark, out to right center field. Cesar Hernandez homered his last time up. 1-1. Anyway, I remember people telling us, the cowbells, it's going to drive you crazy down the Tropicana field. And I remember Game 1, it was loud, but I don't think it was anywhere near as loud as Citizens Bank Park was for Games 3, 4, and 5. Both parts of Game 5. And the Tampa Bay players, they said the same thing.
Right.
1 ball and 1 strike to Cesar Hernandez. Breaking ball.
Yeah, those things were annoying though. The cowbells. They're very annoying.
Well, they were, and you're obviously in the press box. You're right in the stands, basically.
Right.
So you really heard it. I think one of the big things is the fact that the Phillies jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first inning of Game 1. As Cesar loops it out to right center field, that'll be another base hit. He might think about going for 2. He's gliding toward the bag. The throw by Eaton, not in time. A nice slide toward the infield grass side of second base, and Cesar has his 13th double of the year.
He was watching it, and I wasn't sure he was going to make the turn because most of the time you're going to swing out a little bit to the right before you make that turn at first base. He was pretty much going straight at first base. It didn't enable him to make that efficient turn going towards second. See, I'd like to see him get out there a bit farther. See, he really has to cut back hard to get back in line going to second base.
One out double, and Odubel Herrera is now the hitter.
You challenge a guy with 17 outfield assists. Better make it.
17 outfield assists and 22 defensive runs saved. I was watching film with Juan Samuel before yesterday's game. 17 outfield assists, tied for most by a Sox player since Jim Rivera in 55. Now 15 of those outfield assists are in right field. There's the 22 defensive runs saved, and that's tops in Major League Baseball. But I was watching film with Juan Samuel. Sammy goes over film of all the outfielders before each series. So we're watching film on Eaton. And what really stood out, he asked me, he said, what stands out to you about Eaton and his throws? I said, well, how quickly he gets rid of it and the velocity, the exit velocity when it leaves his hand. He goes, that's exactly it. He said he doesn't take a lot of time to get the ball from glove and to the target. Dougal fouls it off. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. All around baseball, they have the iPads that they can now use in the dugout. Well, that's what Sammy was using to watch the film. But Juan did say that watching film, he thought that Eaton was a better right fielder than he was center fielder. 1-2 to Odubel.
He definitely has the arm to play in right. I don't see how Odubel gets anything but an off-speed pitch from here on in. Full Bailey is second time up, flailing at a ball that was down and away, and then after that one, the recent struggles for Odubel, and I think he'd be way down. He's still hitting 281. That's what's hard to believe.
Oops, that one to left. Melky Cabrera will make the catch. Yeah, there are 2 outs. Follow Phillies baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. It's time for a 2-out RBI as Maikel Franco will come up. Out toward left field. Cabrera going back toward the track, has room, makes the catch. So the 1-out double leaves Cesar Hernandez at second base. On to the bottom of the 5th. Abreu set to lead it off for the White Sox. And our update, the Lakewood Blue Claws announced a 4-year extension of the player development contract with the Phillies. They've been in a Phillies affiliate since 2001. They've won 3 South Atlantic championships. Look at all the former Blue Claws that have played in the major leagues. Ryan Howard was the first to debut. Carlos, Maikel Franco, all current Phils that were part of the Lakewood Blue Claws. Cole Hamels pitched for Lakewood, has his number retired. Well, it's a great facility. If you haven't gone down to watch a game there, it's a beautiful facility with an outfield berm that enables them to fill it up. And they've done a great job over the years. In fact, all of the Phillies minor league ballparks are outstanding. My dad worked for the Lakewood Blue Claws since their inception, just retired a couple weeks ago. 0-2. And he loved every minute of going to work.
I did not know that.
Oh yeah, he was an usher right behind home plate.
I did not know that.
Check swing. Did he go? No. So it was Brian Onora.
Got Abreu to fly out his first at bat after getting behind 3-0 through a 3-1 slider, a 3-2 slider. Good aggressive pitch inside there at 93 by Jared. Perfect spot to double up.
Curveball waved at.
Or throw that.
He's got a lot of his pitches working tonight. That's his first strikeout, oddly enough. He's allowed 1 hit through 4 1/3.
Now the 0-2 that he threw seemed to kind of roll out of his hand, but that one he threw very aggressively. Threw it hard.
Justin Morneau flied out to center his first time up. Actually out to left center field. First pitch fastball runs low. On the inside corner, 1-1. Two to Morneau. Todd Frazier waiting on deck. Curveball. That one's poked out to short left field. Freddie Galvis sprints behind Maikel Franco and then right between Altair and Franco. 2 easy outs for Jerad Eickhoff. 8th fly ball out. Time now for our cold hard fact. Here's Greg Murphy. Murph.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. It's brought to you by Coors Light, clean, crisp Coors Light. And how about this? In honor of Todd Frazier, the all-time home run leaders for players born in the Great Garden State.
That's right.
Yeah. So Eric Karros, believe it or not, he leads the list. 284 home runs for him. He was born in Hackensack, New Jersey. And then you go down, of course, Derek Jeter, 260. You go down a little bit further down on that list, Mike Trout from Vineland, 162. He's probably going to add to that before his career is over. He might take over the lead. And Todd Frazier, 139, born in Point Pleasant. Of course, grew up in Toms River, but born in Point Pleasant. So there you go.
Well, he flies out to center field. It's a 10-pitch inning, and Todd Frazier made a point to tell Ben Davis, Point Pleasant, why does it say that? From Toms River. We head toward the final month of the season. Hector Neris started 2016 in command and has been solid the whole way through. His first half was high quality, and since the All-Star break, he has been fantastic, only allowing opponents to bat in the mid-100s, and his ERA is well below 1. He's among the best NL relievers in games, strikeouts, innings, ERA, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, the Phillies hope that maybe Jerad Eickhoff can pitch the rest of the game. We don't have to see Hector Neris, but he is well rested. Here's Ryan Howard to lead it off. He's 0 for 2. Howard, since the All-Star break, he does not have enough at-bats to qualify, but if he did, he would have the 11th best batting average since the All-Star break in the National League. 2-0. 7 home runs, 16 runs batted in since the break. balls and 1 strike. Guy with the best batting average in all of baseball since the All-Star break is Jose Altuve, who is hitting over 400 since the break.
Last time I checked, he was at 363
overall.
Yeah. He just gets it done.
Fly ball out to right field. Garcia will stand his ground.
Just missed that changeup.
And 1 out for Cameron Rupp. Over the head of Juan Samuel, and it's 0-2. Cameron strikes out. This is the first time in the month of August that Shields has actually pitched into the 6th inning.
He's really settled down. He had a obviously rough 2nd inning, although got 2 quick outs, and then he gave up 3 consecutive hits, 2 of them being extra base hits. The curveball's been pretty good for him.
Well, Robin Ventura said after his last start, he said, listen, he's having an off period. Well, in a lot of ways, he's having an off year. There was 1 month where his numbers were good. They just couldn't win games. He said he's having an off period, but there is stuff there. I guess you could say there is stuff there.
Yeah.
Tommy Joseph's 1 for 2. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Struck out looking on that curveball, his 2nd at bat. Another one there, 0-1.
Fly ball to deep left center field. Cabrera going back. So is Eaton. It is gone. A home run for Tommy Joseph. James Shields trying to go back to the well one too many times, and Tommy Joseph was ready for it. And the Phils take a 4-0 lead. Into the rightful hands of a Phillies fan out in left field.
Well, I think you can qualify that as a big night. Doubles first at bat, goes up top, and as soon as contact is made, you could hear James Shields express his
displeasure at himself.
Displeasure, and he knew it. Boy, Tommy.
2nd home run of the night for the Phils. And Aaron Altair takes a breaking ball for a strike. A Phillies fan sitting out in the bleachers in left center field, getting a nice souvenir from Tommy Joseph. Altair is hit by that pitch. That fastball just ran in. Well, 17 home runs for Tommy Joseph, 11 doubles. As you mentioned, his playing time has been diminished a little bit recently. Cooper on the phone, so the White Sox will get somebody up. Shields is at 102 pitches, partly because of the 3-ball counts that he has. had 7 3-ball counts through the first 4 innings. And he has 8 overall.
I don't think that's his good one.
I think that's, I'm still mad about giving up the home run and then hitting the next guy.
And I really don't want to throw over to first base right now.
But I'm going to appease my coaching staff.
Yes. His body language is
disgust.
Not the best I've seen.
Matt Albers warming up in the bullpen. They're not going on that one.
We don't run on pitch outs.
I think he sold it a little too soon. He jumped out quickly.
He did. Got another throw over and doesn't seem happy about it.
To the dirt, and Navarro throws behind Altair, and he just barely got back. If the swinging tag by Abreu was a little cleaner, they may have had him.
Did seem like he missed him with the tag, though.
Yep, he got him in the helmet, but his hand was already on the bag. That had nothing to do whether he was a wrong-hander or a right-hander.
Right.
Side 3-1.
Already seeing it well right now. Good take there.
There goes Altair. The pitch is whacked foul. It's 3-2.
Freddie like to have that one back. Seems like he just got out and around it a little too much. Trying to use that hole. See his arms get out and around him. Slight uppercut there.
That would have killed you. Uber field, Uber car. Ah! I know they were.
Altair takes off again, and the pitch fouled back to the screen.
Yes, I flinched.
You did flinch on that. The ball's about 100 feet away from you.
So.
Altair goes again. Pitch is swung out and missed. A slow curveball. And the inning is over. But the Phils tack out another run on the home run by Tommy Joseph. It's the first home run this year that Shields has given up on an 0-2 pitch. It just was not a good 0-2 pitch. And Tommy Joseph was waiting for it. He deposited it to the seats in left center field. The 17th home run of the year for the Phils rookie first baseman. Brought to you by your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer. Visit DelValHondaDealers.com. By the Pennsylvania Lottery's new instant game, Wonder Bucks. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly. And by WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. 4-0 Phillies. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Garcia will lead things off for the White Sox. Jerad Eickhoff has faced the minimum tonight. He's allowed 1 hit. That batter was erased on a double play ball. Garcia grounded out to shortstop his first time up. And that ball hit back toward the middle, a base hit. So just the second hit for the White Sox. Deanna Navarro's coming up. This has been a very efficient night for Eickhoff. Although he hasn't thrown an overwhelming amount of first pitch strikes, he has only thrown 54 pitches. Navarro flied out to right field, his first time up at the plate.
When I went in to see the renovations that the White Sox made to the home side of the clubhouse, and Navarro was sitting in there on the couch while the White Sox were out taking batting practice. I just assumed, maybe he pulled something, or I wasn't expecting him to be in there while the team's out on the field.
Veteran ball player, Ben.
I guess.
They got their regimen down. Was there ever a day where you wouldn't take BP?
I'd always swing the bat. At least off the tee or do something. But that clubhouse is a lot different from when I was here, that's for sure.
Do you have fond memories of playing here for the short time you were here?
I did. I liked it. Good place to hit.
Outside 2-0. Now you played for Ozzie Guillen.
Mm-hmm.
You get along with Ozzie Guillen?
Yeah. Get along with him.
Did you get along with Jose Valentin?
The Whammer, I did, yes.
That ball is crushed deep to right field. Borges going back, and it's a 4-2 ball game into the Phillies bullpen. Well, Deanna Navarro should sit on the couch more often. He's just cut the Phillies lead in half. The 6th home run of the year.
Big swing. Maybe that's part of his pregame routine. Big swing. Not going to miss that one. It's a good pitch to hit there for Deanna.
Seventh home run allowed in the last 4 starts for Eickhoff, and now it's Tyler Saladino. Back toward the middle, off the glove of Eickhoff, barehanded and then dropped by Galvis. That'll be an infield hit. It is kind of interesting with Jerad Eickhoff as he progresses deeper into games. Pete Mackanin has said that this is where he has to take that next step as a pitcher. Because if you look at his numbers, the first 2 times through the order, his numbers are excellent. Now he's about to go through the White Sox order a 3rd time. And I was going over some of those numbers with Pete today, and Pete said he thinks it's all about focus. That for a young pitcher, he has to realize that yes, maybe the end of his outing is near, but these numbers have to improve because his focus has to improve. So the 3rd time through the order, Ben, the opposition's hitting .353 with an OPS over 1,000. But the first 2 times through, I mean, it's a more than manageable average.
Yeah.
Now his pitch count's still low. Pitches 76 to 100. The opposition is hitting .366 against him. And I think that's a telling sign.
Yeah, those numbers are alarming, and I don't think he doesn't know that either.
He said he thinks that sometimes, and he thinks it's different with hitters. Hitters in their final at bat, he said this is where they give up ABs. Let's say they have 1 or 2 hits. They said, all right, I already got 2 hits. I don't have to be as sharp in this at bat, my last at bat. He said, yeah, that's the difference between good hitters and just mediocre hitters. He said sometimes with pitchers, they've been so ingrained in 6 innings as a quality start that sometimes they think, all right, I'm almost near the finish line.
Right.
So they relax.
They don't
their
run
focus.
through it.
They don't run through it.
Yep.
Now here, he's only at 60 pitches, so he shouldn't be almost at the end. Fly ball shallow left field.
Well, that's not going to help falling behind 2-0. Eaton shows his disgust by popping that one up. A decent pitch to hit. But maybe it's just the fact that maybe he falls into some patterns. He gets him out the same way the first 2 times, tries to get him out the 3rd time. And that's what hitting is and pitching. They're both game of adjustments. Pitch to pitch, batter to batter, game to game. In the same way offensively. You have to make those adjustments.
I went into the conversation with Pete, even Bob McClure the other day, thinking, all right, I'll go open-minded, but it must be, just being a young pitcher. So I asked, I said, it's not conditioning, right? Because he is a well-conditioned
Yes, he is.
He's a horse. And they both said, nope, it's not conditioning at all. Because he is physically strong. Inside. Out of the way, 2-1.
So were you referring to that story I told you about earlier with
Jose Valentin?
Jose Valentin?
Oh, yeah. You want to tell the story? You want me to tell the story?
Tell it. I went over to see the clubhouse today, the home clubhouse. Wait on this 2-1 pitch.
There goes the runner. Pitch is swung on and missed, and Rupp drops the ball, so Saladino has a stolen base. He's in scoring position.
It's a breaking ball, but not the best pitch to throw on, but Cameron just struggles with the transition there into his bare hand. So I walk in there and the security guard recognizes. He says, "Hey Ben, good to see you. Good to have you back in town." He goes, "We were just telling a Ben Davis story the other day."
We tell them from time to time.
I said, "We tell them from time to time." I said, "Oh yeah, what's that?" As Anderson strikes out for the 2nd out of the inning, he said, "Remember the time you had to go in late in the ball game and Ozzie Guillen said, 'Hey, you're in there, go.'" So I said, "All right." I'm stretched out, ready to go. I go over to my bag, and I have no catching gear, 0. And I start freaking out. I said, "Where's my gear? Where's my gear?" I couldn't find it anywhere. And Ozzie's like, "Ben, you're in. Let's go." I said, "Ozzie, I don't have gear." So I went to the batting cages right down there in the tunnel, and Jose Valentin's kid,
Yes, Meal.
had it on, all of it. Both shin guards, chest protector, face mask, helmet, everything.
12 years old.
And I said, "Hey, I need that. You gotta get that off, like now." And it was just one of those things like, we're in the big leagues, right? Is this happening? It was, and I had forgotten about that. I'm glad the security guard reminded me about that today.
I'm sure it was startling to you that he said from time to time we tell Ben Davis stories.
I said, how many were there? I was already here for 5 months, 4 months.
No balls and 2 strikes to Melky Cabrera. Slide out twice. Off the end of the bat, foul over the screen. Well, as you said, there were always a lot of kids running around here when Ozzie Guillen was the manager, and it kind
Sure were.
of carried over until really this year.
I was in straight paddock mode.
and 2 strikes to Melky Cabrera. Fly ball, shallow left center field. Odubel Herrera looking to take care of it, and does. And the White Sox leave a runner in scoring position. They do get 2 on the home run by Deanna Navarro. We have played 6. We'll go to the 7th. The Phillies nursing a 2-run lead. Minimum until the home run by Deanna Navarro, but he was getting a lot of fly ball outs, Ben, early on, and he was also getting the hitters off balance, which is a good thing. They weren't barreling a lot of balls up.
Very good thing. He's had some late run on that fastball tonight. Jared not really known for that, a good sinking fastball. We had some late movement, induced a couple of ground balls, a lot of fly balls. He's missing barrels. The big hook has been there for him. He's been very sharp. Did make that one mistake to Navarro last inning, but he's been outstanding.
Time now for our Delaware Valley Honda dealers game summary. Eichhoff, 9 fly ball outs in 6 innings of work, 2 strikeouts. James Shields, 6 innings, 7 hits, and 4 earned runs and 6 strikeouts. He allowed 2 home runs. Cesar Hernandez and Tommy Joseph. In fact, both of those guys have 2 extra base hits. So we begin the 7th, and Matt Albers will take over for the White Sox, the veteran right-hander. And he delivers to Peter Borges. Albers in his 53rd game. He's allowed a lot of base runners. Opposition in 314 against him. Down and away. 1 ball, 1 strike.
A lot of sinkers.
There's that sinker that Ben was talking about. 7th strikeout for White Sox pitching. Oh, it's time now for the Jeep Stump the Fans trivia quiz answer. All right, Ben, here we go. Who holds the White Sox record for most 30 home run, 30 double seasons?
I'll say Big Hurt.
Frank Thomas is correct. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. And thanks for playing Jeep Stump the Fans. Got himself a statue here in Chicago. I guess you weren't here long enough to get a statue.
They're making it right now.
That's nice of them.
They're having a tough time with the bronze.
To the right side. Saladino's up with it. Is Yasmiel Valentin behind you as another statue with your catcher's gear on? You going to bring that up to him when you see him the first time?
Yes. Definitely will.
Herrera is 0 for 3. He's flied out twice and he has struck out tonight. Line drive, base hit it to left field. Well, that was by far his best swing of the night.
Exactly what you should do with sinkers away, too. Short and quick. No chance you can pull that one. Shoots it right by Frazier.
Dan Jennings, the lefty, warming in the bullpen. Ryan Howard is on deck, so Jennings could be warming up for him. There's Rhino. Phillies haven't really taken any attempts to second base. They had the one with Altair, but Freddie Galvis fouled the ball off, so he had to come back. Count 3-1. Well, I guess Odubel thought he had a longer lead than he actually had. Here we go. Whoop.
Rhino Nora got a kick out of that.
Yes, he did. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Mets and the Cardinals are playing in St. Louis. Home runs by Carpenter, Grichuk, and Piscotty. They're giving the Cardinals a 5-1 lead. Cardinals lead over the Marlins is a game and a half for the final wild card spot. One ball and one strike.
You can get a ball in the gap here.
Tapper foul, and it's 1-2. Franco extended his hitting streak to 7 games with a single in the third. He's 1 for 3 tonight.
And that was a bullet.
Really short lead by Odubel Herrera over at first base. In the dirt, Navarro will pick it up, and Herrera's on his way to second. Oh, what a play by Saladino. Saladino nearly fooled Herrera. It'll go down as a wild pitch, not a stolen base.
Navarro sits so low I mean, really low. And it's just hard to get down and block a ball effectively when your tail's almost close to hitting the ground. You have to be up in a position, and especially when you know a slider's coming. You might have the propensity to go and throw it in the dirt.
Swing and a miss. And Franco strikes out with a runner in scoring position. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. We'll go to the 7th, bottom of the 7th, after we stretch Abreu due to lead things off. Jim Salisbury's not a big fan of it either, because he'd have to eat his shoe if Tim Tebow did make it to the big leagues. Jared Eichhoff's night is done after 6 innings of work, so Dubry Ramos will take over. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire, the opposition 1-2-3. Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity X1 will change the way you experience TV. A little surprised that Pete did not allow Eichhoff to start this inning. Now, I know it's a 2-run game and you've got Abreu coming up and then Justin Morneau, but he was only at 71 pitches. I mean, I know that they are looking at innings. They are at this point in the year. I'm not saying that that's the reason. Maybe he knows the numbers. I mean, we talked about it today with Pete about the numbers the 3rd time through, and maybe he was seeing signs of that.
Well, how's he going to get better
That's
in
the
these
other part.
situations?
Yeah.
We could be Monday morning quarterback all we want, but again, there's obviously a reason for Pete doing this.
Abreu takes inside 2-0. I think part of it's innings. I think that they're really conscious of the amount of innings that the young pitchers are throwing. Now, he's at 155 2/3 after tonight. To Abreu. Curveball, 2-1. Well, he has it lined up for Ramos, Neris, and Gomez to get the last 9 outs. That would be best case scenario. Justin Morneau is up next.
71 pitches, though.
Swing and a miss. He got it with a breaking ball. Abreu goes fishing for the second time tonight. And that's 3 strikeouts for Phil's pitching. Justin Morneau's coming up. By the way, the Braves are coming into Citizens Bank Park for their final visit, Labor Day weekend. Friday, September 2nd through Sunday, September 4th. 2 night games and a day game. You can get tickets right now by going to Phillies.com or stop by the box office. Say hello to the good folks there. They'd love to see you. .71 pitches for Eickhoff tonight, the second fewest that he has thrown this year. Ball sharply hit, base hit for Justin Morneau. Takes a big turn around first. He'll hold up there. Here comes Todd Frazier. Wow, that was 97 and it was right on by him.
Sure was. You had mentioned that I showed Frazier that note about the home runs from New Jersey natives. I said, you know, Tom always tries to work in a great Garden State at some point throughout every broadcast. He goes, as well he should.
Well, we talked to Eric Karros today too about leading, being the leader. He was born in Hackensack, spent 2 years before his family moved to San Diego. He said, yeah, I've got it for a few more years. He said, Trout's going to blow it right away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Frazier.
So will he.
So will he. So the last 3 years, that's why we said this batting average is uncharacteristically low. Everything else is in line. Popped him up. This could be a tough play. No, he got under it. For a moment when he started going back, I'm thinking, oh no. But Tommy Joseph's able to put it away for the second out.
He got his footwork tangled up there. I was thinking to myself, Cesar, you better get over there. See him go back. He just
right here. He's got it. Oh, and then he starts to drift.
Recovered nicely. Pick a spot out and get to it.
Garcia's got a base hit, a run scored tonight. He scored on the homer by Navarro. Canely is warming up in the bullpen. Jennings still there.
An explosive fastball by Ramos this evening. Now Morneau was able to get to a 97-mile-an-hour fastball, but it was also 1-0 count. He's sitting dead red.
Little tapper in front of the plate. A foul ball. 1-2. Cameron said, I don't know where I was. I thought maybe I was in fair territory.
And that mid-sing.
Strike 3 called. A fastball at 98 miles an hour right on the inside part of the plate. And that'll do it for the White Sox here in the 7th. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. Dominating inning by Eider Ramos. Is brought to you by Toyota. The annual clearance sale is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. By Jefferson, call 800-JEF now or visit jefferson.edu. And by Chevrolet, visit your local dealer at chevydealer.com. 4-2, top of the 8th inning. Time now for our Hyundai defensive play of the game. How about Todd Frazier with a little bare hand play?
0-2 pitch here on Aaron Altair. He dribbles it down the third base line. Comes in barehands it. Also a good pick by Abreu at first base to rob Aaron Altair of a base hit. That's a long stride there. That's a heck of a play on both ends. And that is your Hyundai defensive play of the game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers.
Dan Jennings will take over. This is his 48th game, 4-3 with an ERA of 1.79. Lefty's hitting .222 against him. And a lefty to start things off in Ryan Howard.
I think this is the only batter he's going to face.
There's a strike, 0-1. And a line drive base hit into right center field for Ryan Howard. Coming up against the lefty and getting the hit. So he's aboard to start the 8th inning. Time to get updated on what's going on around baseball. Here's Greg Murphy.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, it's our greater coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile. Home run number 584 for Albert Pujols today. Moves past Mark McGwire for sole possession of 10th place all time in Major League Baseball. Next up on the list, Frank Robinson with 586. And how about David Ortiz? He also homered today, number 30 on the season. That makes him the oldest player in Major League Baseball history to get 30 or more home runs in a season. He is 40 years old and 9 months. So he's the oldest player ever to get 30. And a trade in baseball today as the Braves, the Marlins, and Rangers all getting together for a trade. Jeff Francoeur, our friend Jeff Francoeur, headed down to Miami to be a part of the Marlins. In return, the Rangers are going to get the Braves will get a minor league shortstop from the Rangers, and the Rangers are going to get some international bonus money so they can use that during the international signing period next year. So Jeff Francoeur is on the move, guys. That's the greater coverage of baseball presented by T-Mobile.
That is Tommy Kahnle, the new pitcher for the White Sox. So a pitching change. We'll talk more about that Francoeur move when we return. Phillies have a runner at first. He has just been lifted for a pinch hitter. Emmanuel Burris will come on a pinch run for Howard. Nice to see Ryan get that base hit against the left-hander. So here's Kahnle. Kahnle 0-1 with an ERA of 4.02 in just 16 games.
Always good to add on, especially in this ballpark.
Cameron Rupp is 0 for 3 in this ball game. Let's see if the Phillies can add on here. In the top of the 8th inning, they lead it 4-2. 2 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, and then 1 in the 6th inning.
If you see another leg kick like that, man, he's going to be off to the races.
I am surprised, though, that they haven't run more tonight. I really anticipated that as part of a game plan against the Shields and Navarro. Down low. 2-0.
Just doesn't seem comfortable with that slide step.
Nope. It's causing his whole upper body to open up.
He's just rushing way too much. The first pitch, that's why I said what I said about that big leg kick. You'd see Manny off to the races.
Ball 4. So he walks him on 4 pitches and puts runners on 1st and 2nd. That brings Tommy Joseph up, who already has 2 hits here tonight. They're going to get Beck up. Chris Beck. Tommy Joseph back in the 6th inning, a solo home run.
It's an 0-2 cement mixer. Shields knew it. Tommy knew it. And that Chase Utley fan got a souvenir.
Yes, he did. How about that's the first 0-2 pitch, first home run he's given up on an 0-2 pitch this year. With all the home runs, he's allowed 31 home runs.
That is a ton, but you're right. That is hard to believe. You give up that many, you think one would have to be on an 0-2 pitch.
Tommy takes strike 1. It's 0-1.
First off-speed pitch we've seen.
Away, and it's 2-1. Boy, if he winds up losing Tommy Joseph in one way, shape, or form, then Robin Ventura is going to go fishing to the bullpen again.
Yep. You see, Canley's got a very good arm.
Bounce it away to the right. Swing and a miss. He overpowered him with a 97-mile-an-hour high fastball. And one away. Phillies Fantasy Camp is open for men and women 30 years old or older for 5 days, 4 nights, January 18th through the 22nd, 2017 in Clearwater. Includes hotel accommodations, practice with and instruction from Phillies legends like the Commish, Mickey Morandini, the Bull, Mike Lieberthal, and a handful of others. Fantasy game versus the Legends at Bright House Field. Personalized Phillies uniform. Go to Phillies.com or call 610-520-3400. With one out, here's Aaron Altair. Altair is 1 for 2 with an RBI. He was hit by a pitch his last time up. Up high. Phillies are 1 for 8 tonight with runners in scoring position. So 1 for 14 in the series, even though they have a 4-2 lead. 8 for their last 59 with runners in scoring position. Altair fouls the 1-0 back.
See the velocity there, and he's just wild enough to where it's not a very pleasant at bat. Just wild enough because you know that velocity is there.
That ball's lined through the hole into the left field, a base hit. Burris around third, heading for home. Cabrera's throw to the plate, cut off by Frazier, and the Phils do add on. It's a 5-2 ball game. Second RBI of the night for Aaron Altair.
Good looking swing there. Dialed it up a bit. Juan Samuel showing no hesitation. Neither did Manny Burris upon scoring there. It's a big insurance run right there for the Phils. See that very good secondary lead by Manny Burris. Getting way out there, not being held on by either shortstop or the second baseman. Melky can still throw it, but not like he used to be able to.
Yeah, he has 10 outfield assists this year. They say it's mostly because he's been very accurate with his throws to second base. All right, so Freddie Galvis is up, still 1 runner in scoring position. 5-2 Phillies lead.
Very easy to question Pete Mackanin as to why he pinch ran for Ryan Howard. He said, well, why would you do that? You're up by 2 runs. It's late in the ball game. If something does happen where the Phillies lose that lead, maybe Ryan Howard has a chance to come up later in the ball game.
The ball's deflected off the glove of Canely, but they still get Galvis.
Well, that's the exact reason that they pinch ran for Ryan.
Absolutely. There's no way he would have scored on that ball.
No chance. No chance. You know, you don't want to think about that way. You don't want to think about the negative. Well, what if the Phillies blow this lead? Well, then Ryan Howard might not have a chance to come up and hit. Well, that's the exact reason why. You need that extra insurance run.
Officially, it is a 1-4-3 putout off the bat of Galvis, second one of the night. And Borges is up with runners on second and third. Borges bounces it out to short. Big hop for Anderson. Phillies do get 1. They lead 2. We have played 7.5 here in the south side of Chicago. 5-2 Phillies. We'll be back with the bottom of the 8th right after this. Arcand leads the discussion as he and the panel preview the Phils Mets series and look ahead to the Eagles' third preseason game versus the Colts. All that and more on Philly Sports Talk tomorrow at 5 on CSN. Phillies lead at 5-2. Phillies looking for their 59th victory of the season. At this point last year, they were 50-75. As Hector Neris will take over. Hector in his 64th ball game.
League leading.
League leading. Deanna Navarro's the first batter. And it's outside 1-0.
I know the Phillies only got the one run that half inning, but that was a long half inning. Hopefully that didn't break up Hector's routine too much.
He's fallen behind 3-0. He's done his last 29 games. He's barely allowing a base runner. 40 strikeouts during that time. And he allows a base runner on 4 pitches. That is odd.
We talked about who the Phillies may or may not call up for the September call-ups. So they might call up some relievers because of the innings that Hector's pitched. And look at just like this again, Monday morning quarterback, but look at the way Eddie Ramos threw the ball. I'm thinking maybe just run him back out there, save an inning for Hector tonight.
You do have an off day tomorrow.
You have an off day.
Had one on Monday too. Well, this is partly because of Eichhoff going 71 pitches tonight through 6 innings. Saladino, the batter, he's 1 for 2. That'll be foul. 1-2. Fly ball to center field. It's not deep. Playable for Herrera. There's 4 double play ground ball opportunities. He strikes a lot of guys out. That's how he goes through these innings if he's in a little bit of a jam. Ground ball foul past Joe McEwen. It's 0-1. Well, Beck was throwing. Now Yanoa's up. Michael Yanoa. Off the end of the bat towards center field. Herrera makes the grab. I wasn't sure if that ball was going to hang up there in time for him. Tim Anderson's now up with 2 outs. So Dubel takes care of the first 2 outs of the inning.
This is the man you want right here. Unfortunately had that leadoff walk, but this is the one you want. You don't want to get into that 3, 4, 5 part of the lineup with runners on base here, so make it happen here.
Anderson tonight is 0 for 3, 1 for 3 last night. And that split over matches him at 88 miles an hour.
Don't even put a sign down, just throw it. Thank you.
After allowing the leadoff walk, he gets the next 3 batters with relative ease. The Phillies' lead is at 3. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning as the Philly of the week gets patted on the top of the head a few times. We'll head to the 9th. $14 and over. Compliments of hers. They'll be given out Saturday, September 17th, when the Phillies face the Miami Marlins. Get your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. Hector Neris catching his breath. A scoreless 8th inning. Now we go to the 9th inning, and Michael Yanoa will take over for the White Sox. Hector Neris had that aviator hat on. He would be cushioned when this happens, and it happens quite often.
Mike Kell gets him every time.
Galvis is usually in the mix too. 16th game for Yanoa. He has averaged a strikeout per inning pitched. So Canely goes an inning, allows a hit, and an inherited runner to score. Cesar hits it in the air to center field. Adam Eaton only goes back a couple steps. 1 pitch, 1 away here in the 9th inning. Jeanmar Gomez warming up. It is currently a save situation. By the way, Ben, before we go too far,
yes,
today is the 33rd anniversary of your favorite player's major league debut, Juan Samuel, who debuted on this date against the San Francisco Giants and had a triple for his first major league hit.
Shocker.
Could be the first time that Harry said,
"Watch Sammy run."
high, 1-1.
He did run like his hair was on fire. Loved it.
He was making fun of his hair the other day.
In the Jerry curl days?
The Jerry curl days. Very expensive. Odubel Herrera swung at that pitch and lifted his foot at the same time. He'd be proud of Freddie Galvis is due. Swing and a miss, and there are 2 outs.
He's had some wild swings tonight, Odubel. He just doesn't seem comfortable.
Maikel Franco takes a pitch down and away. Bouncing ball to shortstop. Anderson's up with it. Turns out to be an easy inning for Ynoa. Turns out to be a 7-pitch inning. So Jeanmar Gomez will come in a safe situation. We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Phillies trying to take game 2 against the White Sox.
The bottom of the 9th, and when this one's all said and done in Chicago, Phil's hopping on a plane and headed to New York City for a weekend series against the Mets. An off day tomorrow, then on Friday it'll be Adam Morgan taking on Bartolo Colon, the right-hander. On Saturday at 7:10, Jeremy Hellickson will have the ball for the Phillies versus Noah Syndergaard, and Vince Velasquez on Sunday versus Robert Zellman. He's 1-0 with a 0.00 ERA, guys. But this one's not over yet.
Well, Murph, we hope it's almost over because Jeanmar Gomez is in the ball game trying to pick up his 34th save of the season. And he will face Melky Cabrera to start it off. Cabrera 2.97 ERA. Excuse me, Gomez 2.97 ERA. Cabrera tonight 0 for 3. And he takes a strike 0-1. I asked Pete the other day, I said, will you think about in September having somebody else close just to see if they can close, whether it be Hector Neris or even Adebayo Ramos? And he said, I don't think I'm going to do that. So the only way I would do it is if, let's say, Gomez closes or pitches like 2 or 3 days in a row. Fly ball to right center field. Borges on the run into the alley, says he has it. One away.
Good jump.
He said, if you asked me at the beginning of the year, I probably would have told you that at some point, yes, I would have tried somebody else as the closer. He said, but I don't think, I think I owe it to Gomez to let him close the rest of the year. He said he's done nothing to lead me to believe he can't do it next year if the Phillies don't have a quote-unquote closer to speak of. He said, so no, I don't think I'm going to do it. He said, now, again, if he works 2 or 3 days in a row, I will put Neris in there.
You'd have to.
because I know he is intrigued about Neris and whether he could close eventually. But Pete said, you know, Neris has done enough where I think he can. Will we have to adjust to, you know, being the 9th inning and the gate and the door's not going to open again? I said, sure. 1-0 to Abreu. Abreu's 0 for 3, and he lines that one back through the middle, a base hit. His 3rd hit of the series. Coming up after the ball game, stay tuned. Ricky Bo does the inside the numbers and breaks down the game. Watch Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Post-Game Live following the final out here on CSN.
I don't see the Phillies going out and making a move to go out and get a quote-unquote closer.
Yeah, the only thing that, you know, that would cause them to have to find a closer is if they decide to deal Genmar.
Right.
If somebody says, hey, we need this guy, and we'll give you X if you trade him to us. But I think they're fortunate that they found what they have. Morneau is 1 for 3. Popped him up.
Been some high pop-ups in this ball game.
Well, this is where he stands currently as far as the single season saves leaders. Obviously, there's names that are on there twice, including Papelbon and Ricky Bottalico. Jose Mesa's on there twice as well, but one more save, and he matches Ricky's numbers in '96, '97, and Tom Gordon in '06. Frazier's up, and he is not the tying run, which is a good thing.
But he was thinking about bringing the tying run to the plate with a bunt.
That would be Garcia. I guess that tells you how much he struggled this year outside. 2-0 to Frazier.
Spot as the last one, huh?
Awfully close. Ball 4. So the tying run is coming to the plate. Garcia tonight is 1 for 3. He's grounded out. He has gone down looking, and in the middle of that, he singled and scored on the home run by Deanna Navarro. Phil's added an insurance run at the 8th inning to make it a 5-2 ball game. Opposite way, a base hit it to right field. That's going to get at least 1 run home. Abreu will score. Frazier goes to 3rd. It's 5-3. The Phillies lead is at 2. And Deanna Navarro is coming up.
He stayed inside it and shot it down the right field line.
All of a sudden, this is getting a little dicey here, even though there are 2 outs.
Gets a sinker inside corner and just inside outs it to right field. Nothing Tommy Joseph can do.
So Abreu scores 5-3. And here is Deoner Navarro, who is homer tonight. He's also walked. Phillies trying to win their 59th game of the year. Outside, 1-0. Cameron Rupp out to talk to the right-hander. Good job by Borges also to get to that ball quickly. Now, Garcia is not going to run all that well, and he's not going to take a chance to stretch a single into a double. But if that ball had died even a little bit more in the grass, he could have ventured to second base, so that would have put the tying run in scoring position. 1 ball, no strikes. Changed him up, and it's 1-1. I don't know if he wanted it there, but it had some movement.
It did have a lot of movement on it. Back with it again. That's with another fastball.
I think when Genmar gets in trouble, it's when he's not aggressive with his stuff, his moving stuff. You know, these last couple pitches with runners on first and third, Frazier at third, Garcia at first, you know, just nibbling just a little bit too much. Swing and a miss, a high fastball. So no nibble there. And it's 3-2.
And it's weird that he does that because he is a guy that has to pitch to contact. He's not a guy that strikes out a ton of guys. Yes, he'll get some strikeouts.
Tommy Joseph will cover the line at first. He'll play behind Garcia, who'll be off and running. Ground ball to second base. This should do it. Hernandez is up with it. And the Phillies get out of Chicago with a split of this 2-game series against the White Sox as they win it 5-3. Genmar Gomez did allow a run in the inning, but fortunately, Aaron Altair, with his 2 RBIs, including the insurance run in the 8th inning, gave the Phils enough of a margin to walk away with the victory. Tommy Joseph is our Chevrolet player of the game. You called for him to have a big game, and he had a couple hits, couple runs scored, and that home run to left center field. So the Phillies will say so long to the White Sox for just a little while. They'll see them at Citizens Bank Park in the next couple weeks. But they split this 2-game series behind Jared Eickhoff and the bullpen. Time now for our WB Mason deliveries of the game.
Cesar Hernandez did it again at the top of this lineup. It's a fastball away here off Shields. Drives it out to left field. We weren't expecting it, but it did carry out into the White Sox bullpen. Nice to see out of Cesar. And then the 6th inning, hanging slider off James Shields. Tommy Joseph knows what to do on that one. Always adding some insurance runs, especially here at a hitter-friendly park, is always good to do. They are your WB Mason deliveries of the game, and he is with our very own Greg Murphy. Murph, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Ben. Yep, here with Tommy Joseph, and well, let's talk about the 2 hits first because I'm going to call them clutch hits. 2 outs, 2 strikes, both times. You get the 2-out double to start the rally. You get the solo home run as well. Those 2-out runs are always so important in a ball game, aren't they not?
Yeah, that's one of those areas that maybe we've been struggling a little bit at over the last few weeks. So to get that going was awesome, and Ike doesn't get enough run support, and we're completely aware of that. So to do that for him was big, and then, I mean, for him to go out there and do what he did for 6 innings was great.
Straightaway center field for your home run, your 17th of the year. 17 home runs in 75 games. You know, if I would have said to you in late April, early May that you're going to have 17 at this point in the bigs, would you have been surprised at that point?
If I was given the opportunity, I would have said, yeah. You know, that's how much I believe in myself, and that's how much I think every player should believe in themselves, no matter the age. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about it, and, you know, excited to continue this going.
I was wondering, you know, the last 2 games, obviously, for this team did not go the way you guys wanted. The 9-0 loss and 9-1 loss. Any conversations in there today amongst one another saying, hey, man, we got to get this together?
I mean, anytime on a getaway day, you definitely want to, get a win, get a big win for a pitcher like Eickhoff. And, we get a happy flight, happy off day, and we're definitely excited about that.
And we're looking forward to it. Tommy, thanks for your time. Guys, back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you. We appreciate that. Jenmar Gomez records the save to wrap up today's game. It was a little bumpy in the ninth, but he did get it done. Phils win at 5-3. We'll wrap it up when we return.